Right, it's time for business. Emmanuel Abajo has joined me. So it turns out that we're back at ITLOS. It's about our maritime dispute with the Ivory Coast.
Exactly. And today, Ghana ended her first round of oral submissions to ITLOS, as it were.
Right.
And the Attorney General is actually accusing the Ivorian government of going against initial agreements that existed between the two countries, even before the onset of our development of the oil and gas area.
How soon can we know, our fate, whether if we're going to win or we're going to lose?
Well, I can't tell exactly, but all I know is that these cases take such a long time, perhaps about a year, because the process has already started, and we are now at oral, submissions. So let's give ourselves maybe the next year or so, we could have a conclusion to that.
Okay, you take it away.
Thank you very much, and thanks for joining me on Business. Ghana has accused the Ivory Coast of going against an original agreement between the two countries on their maritime boundaries. Addressing the chamber of the International Tribunal of the Laws of the Sea, ITLOS, in Hamburg, Germany, Ghana's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Gloria Akufu, gave evidence for Ghana's position and prayed the court to uphold Ghana's regional maritime boundary.
The truth is that Ghana developed its oil industry based on the pre-existing maritime boundary as mutually agreed and recognized by both parties. It is on the basis of that tacit mutual understanding that over many years, Ghana has developed this industry step by step, openly, from the first licensing of blocks, through decades of studies, exploratory drilling, and the eventual drilling of wells. Understandably, Ghana was taken aback by Côte d'Ivoire's demand in 2011 that work should stop in Ghana's oil fields. The evidence before the special chamber clearly shows that the principle of equidistance ought to be affirmed as the equitable solution because the parties themselves have adopted an equidistance-based line. But even if they had never considered this matter, and the question of delimitation arose for the first time during this case, we submit that equidistance is the principle which ought to be adopted. Ghana asks this special chamber not to be swayed by the rather extravagant case Côte d'Ivoire seeks to present here by relying on the bisector theory and its related maps to create a huge area as the so-called area in dispute. Their bisector claim is so unrealistic that it should be dismissed out of hand.
Some other members of Ghana's legal team also gave their submissions before the chamber of the ITLOS. Professor Philippe Sant is a lead maritime lawyer based in the United Kingdom.
The withdrawal of its initial claim by Côte d'Ivoire shows that they were fully aware that their current claim was not consistent with prior practice. We shall revisit this point later. Just let me say, for the time being, that the reasons advanced by the other side to justify the withdrawal of this claim are both artificial in nature and hardly compelling.
After 5 decades of consistent practice, Côte d'Ivoire suddenly changed direction. The change that occurred in February 2009 would be the first of many changes of direction. The initial change seems to have been prompted by the discovery of significant oil reserves in Ghana's Jubilee field. Thus, during a bilateral negotiation and without any notice, Côte d'Ivoire simply abandoned the long-agreed customary equidistance boundary. In February 2009, it opted for a geographic meridian approach. That is to say, a line due north-south. The meridian it chose was then changed in May 2010. The following year, in November 2011, Côte d'Ivoire changed its mind again, now opting for an angle bisector, yet another new direction. And then in May 2014, it changed its mind once more, putting forward a different version of the angle-buy sector. Yet even during this period, as Côte d'Ivoire was communicating its changes of position to Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire continued to offer concession blocks that respected the agreed customary boundary.
Away from that, prices of petroleum products should have gone down marginally at the pumps this week, but checks by Joy Business shows that most of the major oil marketing companies have decided to keep their prices unchanged. So what has accounted for this development? George Uafi tells us more.
Joy Business checks reveal that price of the various products should have gone down marginally by about 1%, with the exception of LPG, which should have gone up by 2%. However, most of the major oil marketing companies like Goel, Shell, Allied and Total, that account for more than 50% of the market, have all kept their prices unchanged. While some of them have indicated that after a comprehensive review, they don't think the prices should go down. Others say they are still monitoring the market before adjusting prices. Under the current deregulation policy, there should be a major review in prices by the over 90 oil marketing companies every 2 weeks. But Joy Business understands some of the firms are even doing this on a daily basis. Well, for some, the good news could be that the budget for fuel purchases might not go up till the 16th of this month, whilst industries might not witness any significant jump in the cost of production, a development that could prevent any increase in the cost of living, and maybe could also convince the transport operators not to increase fares.
Now, head of audit at the Legon branch of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Martin Kobil Yamborija, has advised government to come up with different ways of generating revenues to replace the shortfalls that are going to be created in the event of a reduction or a removal of some taxes. According to him, abolishing some taxes will be a welcoming idea, but will bring a huge gap into government treasury if measures are not put in place to attract additional funds.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has hinted government will scrape some taxes he referred to as nuisance tax in the upcoming budget. This has been welcomed by some financial experts and many organizations, including the Private Enterprise Federation, among others. According to Martin Kobil of the GRA, other measures must be put in place to replace the revenue gap likely to be created as a result of implementation of the policy initiative. He spoke with Joy Business in an interview after a seminar to train small and medium enterprises on some amended laws in the Ghana Revenue Act.
I think it makes sense to say that some taxes are a nuisance tax. However, every tax brings in something into the consolidated fund. So if we take out those taxes that we consider as nuisance taxes or that are not significant, that means that there must be other means to plug those loopholes. Other than that, the revenue will go down. So if those taxes are taken away, then there should be other means of getting revenue from other sources to plug those revenue loopholes.
The seminar, sponsored by Omnibank, is aimed at exposing participants to the importance of tax payments and developing a good tax record as an entrepreneur. Sean Corte is the team lead of branding at Omnibank.
SMEs have a lot of challenges when it comes to taxation, and we think it's very important for us to hold this seminar to teach them more on taxes, when to pay taxes, how to pay taxes. So, and also, as we know, there have been a lot of rumors about tax laws and changes in tax laws. So this was just an opportunity to help them, to teach them and make them understand taxation and all the issues that come with it, and also help them. This will help them improve their businesses.
One of the participants, Emmanuel Darko, shared his thoughts in an interview.
We buy commodities, goods and services, we are charged VAT, but it becomes operational costs, which means our cost of operation goes up. But from today, I think we'll be enlightened that those VAT that you were charged, since you are not a final consumer, you can also claim it back by passing on to other consumers. The nature of my business, I think I'm not qualified to charge VAT or to register for VAT, actually. But then I also learned that you can do voluntary registration for VAT. So that's what I'm going to consider from here.
And finally, commercial banks will have to go through 2 rounds of capital increase before they can operate in the country. This is what Joy Business has picked up from the central bank. According to the Bank of Ghana, apart from the about 300 million Ghana cedis minimum capital increase, the banks would have to up their capital again based on the risks they undertake. The move is to ensure that banks in the country are well capitalized to undertake big transactions. Raymond Amanfo is head of banking supervision at the Bank of Ghana.
When you are looking at the capital, you first have to look at what is the basic risk that the banks face. Okay, so we currently have used about 4 models. Capital at risk, basically looking at the major risk components of the bank, basically operational risk, market risk, and maybe credit risk. Then we adjusted for liquidity risk, given the fact that liquidity is also very crucial. So the second model talks about the modified capital at risk model. Then we have to also look at if we are adjusting for exchange rate purely as a result of the fact that the last time the exchange rate was set, the last time capital was set, what was the exchange rate? If you bring it into a simple convertible terms now, and assuming you want to maintain the same ratio of exchange rate to this, what is it should be? And then we had a 4th model. Right, okay. So these are the models that have been developed to assess the capital. And of course, the 4th model, we look at the current developments in terms of the impairment that has occurred in banks as a result of the assets quality review. So this gives us 4 models that we have presented to management and board, and then they have taken a decision on it. You see, you must set a minimum floor for everybody. We all talk about level playing field. Set a minimum. Then depending on what the boutique you want to operate, whether you want a very high class boutique, you want to go into derivatives, you want to go into swaps, you want to go into forwards and all that, that has its own risk. And you must have capital to meet that. But if somebody is just saying that, look, I'm just going to do the simple LCs and those things, then his basket of products are more limited, and therefore his ability to bring in more capital is also tied to what the sophistication of products that you want to.
Well, so that's it for Business Tonight. Many thanks for watching. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Apwaji Riafi. There's more ahead. Don't go away.